Hey YouTube! Oh, how is your day? Mine has been splendid. The last video I made on the Learn From My Air, where I got locked out in the fuel aisle, I alluded to a number of positive things happening. So I wanted to circle back and talk about those things. So I, for one, believe that everything happens for a reason. These chain of events that I'm going to tell you about, I can't quite figure out the meaning behind them. I'm always searching for meaning. But here's what happened. So 2 days ago, so the afternoon before the lockout, I walked into the Huddle Up restaurant, I think it's called. One of those that's available at a truck stop. And upon walking in, my eyes caught another woman's eyes. So like we, glanced at each other. And this was an older woman, had to been, I would say late 70s, silvery hair, nicely dressed, but there was a sadness in her eyes, and I walked by and greeted her with hello, and I went and sat at my booth, and as I sat there, I just couldn't get my mind off of her. So I was going to go up and introduce myself and talk to her, but the way that she was positioned in the restaurant, and her body language, to me appeared that she did not want to engage in any conversation. So I didn't do that. However, when my waitress came back, I asked her if that woman up in front of me had ordered lunch, and she said yes. And I said, did she pay for it yet? And she said no. So I said, please put that on my check. And the waitress was like, oh my gosh, she'll be so happy. And I said, but I don't want you to tell her who did it. I just want to be anonymous. I just, it's just a goodwill measure. And normally I wouldn't tell you about this, but the other things that happen, I think, in a way, a result of what that was. So, so the waitress had went on to tell me that she used to work with that woman about 20 years ago, and she hadn't seen her in a very long time, and when she came in today, she was pleasantly surprised. But the woman, the older woman, had shared that she had just recently lost her husband, and that she was somewhat struggling with what to do day to day because they did so much together after retirement. And then she was there at the restaurant, waiting to have her glass repaired in her car because it had been damaged. So, maybe that's the sadness that I saw, was the grief that she was going through. But nonetheless, the waitress kept her word and did not tell the woman that I purchased the lunch. And as the woman, got up to the register to pay, she was in disbelief at first. And then she was a little insistent about, well, who and why would they? And the waitress is like, they've already left. They just wanted to do nice things. So, and I had just looked at her once, but because I could hear the conversation that they were having. So I didn't continue to look that way. I just ate my meal and sort of listened in. But the woman had a very big smile on her face when she had left the restaurant, and I hope that it made her day. Now, fast forward, I get up for the start of my shift, and I'm like, oh, I need to go take a shower, right? So I went in, had my backpack, and I normally don't do this, but I walk in and I see a gentleman talking to one of the store employees, not knowing who's who, what position, any of that. But as I sort of looked around for something to drink, something to take in the shower with me, I could hear him a little disappointed because there were no parking spots available, and he was sent there to swap with a team member. Same reason I was sent there, right? He wasn't familiar with the area, and he was then, as I found out through this conversation, talking to the store manager. And she said, well, there's this place and that place, and you could try this. And he was more or less asking to stay parked in the fuel aisle until the team got there. And she's like, I can't let you do that. And so it went on and on and on. And it dawned on me that I'm just taking a shower and leaving, right? So I went over to him and I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you can have my space if you can just wait like half an hour for me to take a shower. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Where are you parked? And I told him where I was parked. And I said, I just need 30 minutes, and then you can have my spot. So he agreed to that. He was like so thankful. And then the lady was like pointing to the showers, and I said, I know, I got to get a coffee first. So I went to get a coffee, and I came back, and the store manager said, we're going to take care of your coffee for you. That was a nice gesture. And I was like, oh, wow, well, that's a nice gesture. And I said, but I still need to buy a shower because I didn't have a free shower available to me. And the driver that I was giving my spot to, he's like, no, I'm going to pay for your shower. And I was like, huh. So I went in and took a shower with my free coffee. And when I left, he took my spot. No. Yes, when I left, he took my spot. That's when I pulled into the fuel aisle. We all know what happened in the fuel aisle. But in order to pay the locksmith that was coming, I had to go inside and use the ATM. So as I'm inside using the ATM, I was using my Comdata card, and I hate using that thing. But so I put it in. It gives me $40. Oh, I requested $100, right? It gives me $40. And then I look at the receipt, and it says $100, and I was like, so I went to the clerk that was working, and I said, I think that there's something wrong with the machine. And she knew that I was stuck in the fuel aisle because I told her that I needed a locksmith. And so she called her store manager. The store manager came up and said, well, it says it was declined. I look at the receipt and it says $100 declined. I said, but I got $40. Like, the machine gave me $40. And I said, and plus that doesn't make sense that it got declined. I said, maybe I chose the wrong option or something from savings or whatever. So I did it again, took the $100 out, and I said, well, what do you want me to do about the 40? And he's like, well, you might be charged for it, so I don't want to take it from you. And I said, but I may not have been charged for it. He's like, so I got $40. Then, called the locksmith, paid him, gave him a tip. And then, that evening, I went into the store again to get some snacks, and the clerk is like, you can do buy one, get one if you purchase the soda. And I said, I don't drink soda, no thank you. And she's like, I'm not going to make you pay all that. So she gave me the discount anyway, like I had purchased the soda, but she didn't make me pay for the soda. Like she swiped some cup. I don't know. So that was another nice gesture. And then I said, you know what? I'm feeling lucky. I have one of those scratch-offs. Ended up making $30 on the scratch-off. And I think this all goes back to the simple fact that I bought this little lady lunch. It all kind of makes sense to me up until I got locked out, but I'm still searching for the meaning. All is not lost. But I just want to share those things. Like, that's amazing. So, that's all I got. Have a good night.